that many times.
And still got to him that many times.
That many times. You know why? Because they bumped the hell out of everybody on the outside, and he wasn't able to get rid of the ball.
To this, man, this Denver...
Even though Gronk still did what Gronk usually does.
Denver's defense, and at times...
Gronk went crazy, Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, it's because everybody else was getting guarded, and Gronk was the only one that was sitting against the linebacker.
Denver's defense...
The one thing that stood to me in that game was the offensive line, and the guy from last week pointed out was just bad. And they were, again, another combo where it's just not working. It's a combination of a great damn defense, the best in the NFL.
You hear Steve
you're putting a bad offensive line.
You hear Steve trying to give credit to the other person that was on the show when one person that is sitting right here clearly said that.
Hey, you were giving me a hard time last time. You ain't getting nothing.
You gave a person not even on the show who didn't even say it credit for something that was said by the person that was sitting right here.
Well, anyways,
shame on you. Shame.
Go ahead, Steve.
Shame on you.
You're good. It's all right. It's good. Haters gonna hate.
I told you that was going to bite him in the ass.
But like I said,
you just can't admit I was right. That's all.
It was just a bad offensive line going against a great defense. We all know they had a great defense. No one on the podcast will fight you over it. Yes. I think we all can count on a count of three. We can say who has the best defense in the NFL. I'd say Denver.
Yeah,
that's a fact. It's a fact. And then they went up against a bad offensive line. Whenever that happens, it's generally not a great thing.
Yeah, and this they're gonna have their challenge cut out for them because Carolina's got a great offensive line. They got 2 Pro Bowls on their offensive line.
You know what's going to be fun to see though? The linebackers for
Carolina,
for Denver, for Denver.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Now that's going to be interesting to see how well they can. Because if Cam can get past that initial line, bro, you know what? I mean, it's up to the linebackers at that point.
I'll tell you the keys later on.
I'll tell you what, man. I think they're getting overlooked, and I think everybody's getting caught up in this.
There's one person that's getting extremely overlooked.
Victory of the Patriots, and it was Broncos in control of the game. But this is how I look at it. Who's better, Arizona or New England?
This year?
This year.
I would have took Arizona over New England in a ball game.
Would you?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Arizona's defense.
Over New England.
They would have crushed that offensive line. That offensive line for New England was horrible. If you have corners that can bump their receivers and keep them from getting them little quick routes, you're going to be able to get to Tom Brady and kill it. And that's exactly what Denver was able to do. Because
I don't know.
I feel like the Pacers are better than Arizona.
You look at the score from the Denver New England. It was a 2-point win, and it literally was seconds away from going to overtime. I can't agree with you on that. I don't believe that at all.
I feel like the Pacers are better than the Cardinals.
Absolutely.
I feel like that. I really feel like that they are better than the Cardinals. So if you were to put Arizona and New England in a neutral field setting, you think Arizona would beat New England?
Arizona would beat New England.
I think if they played 10 times, I think New England beat them 7 out of 10 times.
I tell you what.
That's fair.
They have probably the best passing defense, and I'm talking about Arizona. But their rushing defense is.
But here's the thing: how many times does New England run the football?
They'll run the football.
2.5.
But you don't get pressure on Tom Brady.
They can get pressure on Tom Brady because they bump on the outside the same way that Denver was able to do it. They have pass rushers. Both of them teams have pass rushers. No, they're not better than Denver, but they still have pass rushers.
I don't know, man.
You bump their receivers. You keep them from getting little quick. Of course you. Oh, I'm surprised.
No, I mean I'm just.
Woohoo!
Kevin, look at the game.
I am looking at the game. The number one offense in the league was who?
Arizona was number one.
There you go. Okay.
Look past it. Look, no, seriously. Look past what you're about to say about me and Tom Brady. Now look past that, bro. Something I'm saying is, Denver has the best damn defense in the damn league, and you're going to say that it was because it was seconds from going to overtime, and at that point, it's anybody's game. At that point, you're going to tell me that the ass beating that the Cardinals took against Cam Newton, against a team who has a terrible offensive line that went against the best defense? No, I'm going to take the people who took the Broncos to the almost overtime and could have. No, I'm taking New England all day long because my eyes tell me otherwise. If they can hang with the best defense all day long, all day long. It's not even a. It's easy.
That's what I'm saying, and even that, in my opinion, I think New England's better than Arizona.
Absolutely.
If you ask people that, I guarantee you probably 7 out of 10 people say New England is better than Arizona. That's just me personally, and I know you disagree on this, Kevin, but to me, New England is better than Arizona, and I give credit to what Carolina has done. You know, they take advantage of that to beat them that bad, but I just think with 3 linemen getting to him, I mean, you got Vance Walker, you got Malik Jackson, you got Wolf, you got even Von Miller you got these guys putting so much pressure on quarterback, and some of these guys they just blitzing 3. And I know that the line is terrible, but I just don't see that type of thing. I know you can bump everything like that, but as far as I see, you got Caleb Talib, you got Chris Harris Jr., Patrick Peterson, the only one that can come to mind in my head right now. Now, if they would have had Honey Badger, this would be interesting.
Yeah.
This would be interesting. But I'm saying as of right now, without Honey Badger, I think the Patriots are better. So.
Have at
it. All right.
Y'all can have at it. I was told I was wrong 2 weeks ago, too. Well, whatever.
Can't be right every time. Right every time. All right, let's. Who is your S factor for each team? And let's go with you, Steve.
Just like I mentioned a few minutes ago, I think it's going to be the linebackers. I really believe it's going to be the linebackers for Denver. Mm-hmm. If you can get past Cam and if the offense can kind of somewhat get going, if they can get past that the rush and all that from that defense, if they can get past the defensive line and they get past that initial wave, it's going to be interesting to see if the linebackers can step up and stop Cam Newton or whoever decides to make the play other than Cam. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the linebacker play. You know, I think it's kind of a overlooked position somewhat, you know, but that's what I'm looking for in the Denver side. For Carolina, I want to see. For the offense on Denver, though, I want to see your running backs.
Yeah.
I see your running backs. I want to see if they can continue it up. I think towards the end of the game, if I'm not mistaken, was it Anderson? You guys have
C.J. Anderson.
Yeah, Anderson. Yeah, he had a nice couple of runs towards the end of the game. They got him the first downs.
And the game was 80 yards rushing. Yeah. He was solid.
I want to see if he can do it. You know, so the linebackers from the Denver and your running backs for Denver. It's not so much Cam Newton for Carolina. I want to see if their defensive backs. You know, I they can put their the receivers in check and kind of hold them there. It's really going to be the defense versus defense. I'm not very too sure who's going to be the X factor so much. Offense, I'm sticking away from because it's really going to be Cam Newton show as it's going to be, but it's really going to boil down to 2 defenses. So that's for me. That's what it is.
Gotcha. Kevin, your X factors.
The X factor for Carolina is Jonathan Stewart. He's going to, the way he goes is, the way Cam Newton goes is the way Jonathan Stewart's going to be able to go. And if they can get Cam going early, then Jonathan Stewart's going to be able to do whatever he wants to do. The X factor for Denver, or that was their offense, but the X factor for Denver's defense is Wade Phillips. Depends on Wade Phillips can call a ball game to confuse Cam and to make Cam uncomfortable. He called a beautiful game 2 weeks ago against New England, made him feel uncomfortable, and was able to put Tom Brady out of his comfort zone. And they were able to get to him and get past that line and be able to get to him. Now he's got to be able to come up with a game plan to be able to get Cam uncomfortable. You'll see a lot more blitzes this game because their corners will be able. You can put them on an island against Ted Ginn and Fozzie, waiting for him to look for Kermit. You can leave them on an island. Your secondary is going to be fine. The thing is, you're going to have to contain Cam and contain that running game, and don't let them try to give up that big play to where Cam gets outside the pocket and they break containment, and then it goes that way. So Wade is going to have to find a way to keep everything compact and confuse Cam.
Gotcha.
But he's my X factor. I think he's been very overlooked in the great job that he has done with the Denver defense.
Yes.
On offense, the key for Denver on offense is get the tight ends involved. Just like they did against New England. Get them in some mismatches. Get your tight ends involved.
Oh, yeah. On downside, a big game.
But the bad part is you're having to do it against Luke Kuechly.
He's good, man.
Who is just really good, and the dude with the broken arm.
It's unfortunate he's got a broken arm.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that he broke his arm already. But you're going to have to get the tight ends involved and try to open it up for at least Emmanuel Sanders, because really, if you think about it, Carolina's got one good corner in Norman. They play zone a lot, so Norman is not going to follow around their best wide receiver. Mm-hmm. Put Demaryius Thomas in the slot, even put Owen Daniels in the slot. Get somebody open, use your tight ends, and let Peyton be able to dink and dunk. Yep. If Peyton can dink and dunk, Peyton ain't going to have to throw them sideline throws. Then he can catch them off guard. So that's one of their big keys to me.
Gotcha. My X factor for Denver's offense, I'm gonna go Demaryius Thomas. 2 years ago, he had a great Super Bowl and had 140 some yards, and he was the only bright spot for that game, for that massacre.
Because they had to throw the ball.
As of recently this season, there he's been dropping balls more than usual, and it seems like his mind is not there and everything like that. But this is a guy who we paid a big contract in the offseason, and I know how talented. We all know how talented this guy is, and we need him to catch the ball when Peyton actually get it there to him. So he's got to have a big game, because I'm pretty sure that Norman is going to probably match up with Sanders. I'm just going to call that right now because Sanders been playing pretty.
But they don't play a matchup. Carolina's not going to go away from it, and they're not going to do it. They're going to continue to do. So he's not going to be matched up against him. So it's going to be whatever side you put him on. If I was Denver, I'd put both of them on the same side, take Caldwell or whatever, and throw them over to where Norman's going to be. Create the mismatches that you need to mismatch, and go at them.
Yeah.
If you got to bring in somebody else, bring in Caldwell, put him on the side Norman's going to be at, because Norman's not going to follow, because that's not the way that they play defense, and they haven't done it all year long. You just got to watch them. They don't do it all year long, and they have. And the funny part is, I looked at something the other day. Norman has a tell on if it's going to be man to man or if he's going to break back in the zone, and he stays on the same side. His tell is he'll do his hands. Yeah. He'll get his hands ready. If he's playing man-to-man, because he's coming up and bumping them. If he's playing zone, they say he kind of just rolls his arms back, and he don't have his hand movement. Mm-hmm. And you'll see him kind of lean backwards. But when he's playing zone, or man-to-man, he'll come up and start moving his hands, getting them ready for the bump. And he says he does it on about 90% of the plays. It's not 100% tell, but he does it a lot.
Yeah. My X factor for defense, I'm gonna call out Brandon Marshall on the defensive side of the ball. Defensive Brandon Marshall, not the one that played for the Jets, but him, he does a great job in the coverage there. So I know when they, you gotta try to
Greg Olsen.
Yeah, you gotta spy on Greg. You gotta watch Greg Olsen. You gotta watch Cam on the run. I feel like he's probably one of our best cover linebackers there. If you want to put him in a spot.
Don't remind me. Don't stop reminding us of all this stuff.
I'm sorry. As far as me for Carolina,
we let him go. Let him go.
far as offense, I'm gonna go with